Yeah, so we're out here on the St. Croix River and in the hunt for the Harvey rock shelter. And of course, Harvey, that was a rich family that owned a lot of land out here. And there's a nice article about that from 1933. But after she passed away, the land was subdivided in a whole bunch of different parcels. And so it's been a mystery, like which of these parcels actually had the rock shelter on it. But we have identified it as this one here, which is just right up through the woods here.
Oh, okay.
And to avoid, walking anywhere we shouldn't, we're just going to walk on the ice shelf and so on. So we respect everyone's rights and all that. So we're on our way now. Well, we're at the St. Croix boom site here, and this is our first stop on our expedition to find the famous Harvey rock shelter. But this cave here is notable for itself. This is the boom site cave, and it was used by one of the logging companies circa 1900 for food storage. Now you can't see it here. Way in the back end there was a shaft going up to the surface, and on the surface near the boom site pullout today along 95 there was a bunch of buildings there. They could lower the food down, store it here, very cool storage in the heat of summer. And I just thought this is a good place to start our expedition as we head towards the Harvey rock shelter, which is some distance upriver from here. Yeah, here we are at a fine cave spring in Cambrian sandstone along the St. Croix River, and it's melting the ice shelf out there on the St. Croix River very nicely. A little bit of thin ice out there that we need to avoid in our hikes out here, but this little miniature cave spring is also of interest because it's probably what Carver's Cave in St. Paul looked like in its embryonic phase. So it's probably just had this sandstone cliff rising straight up and then the spring water flowing out, and interestingly enough it's about the same amount. Carver's Cave is about 40 gallons per minute, and this looks quite comparable. So perhaps over a few thousand years left to its own devices, this too would become a Carver's Cave. Well, here we are at the Harvey Rock Shelter on the St. Croix River on a beautiful winter day, and it is a natural overhang in Cambrian sandstones, and it was also the abode of early humans. This rock shelter was excavated in 1933 by the Minnesota Academy of Sciences and Albert Jenks, head of the anthropology department at the University of Minnesota. And they found a lot of interesting stuff here. They found, for example, Hopewell age pottery dating this site to thousands of years earlier. They found copper implements, native copper. They found bone fish hooks. Obviously, we're on a river, so that would make sense. And also French trade goods like segments of clay pipe and so on. And so they dug that right out of here in the 1930s. And there's this rock shelter really came into prominence in 1933. There was a newspaper in the St. Paul Daily News. There's a big write-up on the front page which showed Mrs. Harvey, and that's what it's named after. So it was on her land. And so is Mrs. Harvey, and she's standing up next to the rock outcrop and looking at a beautiful medicine wheel petroglyph in this has been carved in the sandstone by Native Americans. And unfortunately, we've been searching this outcrop pretty carefully here, and it appears that by 2019, it is definitely gone. It's overwritten, I believe, by, it's just a graffiti of all the people who stop here over the years. This is a very recent graffiti. It probably has, just many times over, just ruined it or blanked it out. But there were other, in this 1933 photograph of Mrs. Harvey, you can see some other interesting petroglyphs in the background. According to her, this land that we're standing on was, this is where they had their summer cabin. It was a huge parcel, which was later on subdivided into parcels, and this nice little boat harbor here for people to use in summer. But that in brief is the story of the Harvey Rock Shelter.